Alright guys, welcome back to Motoring PSUs, finally in the new setup after the restoration of my studio. And we have a new pickup here. Now, a little spoiler, as you can see, it's really hot, it's summer in Italy, it's like 35 degrees Celsius outside, and we have a fan to cool us. So what better day to wash computer part with a garden hose? Am I right? And why am I saying that? Because what we have here today is my latest pickup for 1,000 euros. And you will not believe the specs for this price, but there is a catch which will require our watering. So this thing has a Ryzen 7 5800 X3D, 32GB of G-Skill Trident Z 4400 MHz RAM, the best DDR4 on the market, an RTX 3090 triple fan from Gigabyte with this very cool SDIY GPU stand. It also has this Corsair all-in-one cooler in which the guy followed what Gamer Nexus showed, but in the wrong way, so he mounted it with the pump downwards, whereas the fans are basically pulling air in with the rod on the outside part on this closed mesh panel. So yes, this sucks. So this thing is mounted wrong, and then it has an RM750 Corsair power supply, and if I'm not mistaken, a 0.5 TB NVMe SSD with, I think, an old hard disk, 2 TB hard disk, if I'm not mistaken. And the motherboard is just your random Asus motherboard. We will see more in depth what it is as soon as we get this mounted. But the main issue with this build is that the front I/O is not working at all because the guy spilled soda on the computer and he fried it all. Then he tried to clean it off, but it didn't work. So what we're gonna do today is get this thing all dismounted, wash down the case with the garden hose, hoping that it will bring back to life the front panel, and to clean it because it's really dusty. We'll show you, but it's really dusty, and then rebuild it properly, maybe with a few upgrades here and there, to hopefully flip this for close to double what we pay for it. So let's go. Okay, so first look at what's wrong. So the cabling, first off, as you can see, there is quite a bit of cables just in the middle of nowhere. Good cable management. However, with that aside, the GPU standoff is actually placed pretty right. The RAM is in the right slots, which is obviously not an obvious thing. The fans itself, they connect. As you can see, we are missing a 4-pin connector on the motherboard. However, that doesn't really affect performance, but it is indeed missing. Okay, the GPU itself, it has a single cable to power both of it, so it's better to use 2 cables, so we'll try to fix that one too. Then we have to flip the AIO, put it on top, and then restore the aesthetic of this case by putting some RGB fans on the front. So I was thinking, either we use those 3 fans on the front, or we use just 2, because if we use all 3, we have to find another fan for the back. So I have to see if I have one of these, which are Cooler Masters, or one that looks similar to match the build. So, and this one just goes straight on top, as it was designed to go with those fans turned around as outtake. So this is the plan. Now, you know, we talked about watering and we talked about the front I/O panel. Now, I am for watering, as you know, but I think you should only water what you need to water. So here's a little trick. Now, as you can see, this front I/O panel can actually be detached pretty easily. With just 2 screws, you can take it off if you disconnect all the cables coming out of it. This way, we just need to water this little part and we can just clean the rest off, making everything easier. Because to water stuff, you have to discharge it properly and just do a good job, and it takes time. So yes, it's powerful, but it takes time. So we'll just disconnect this thing and wash this thing. Now, while we go and disconnect the cabling for that front I/O panel, we might as well just take a look at how the back is looking. So I'm expecting the panel to pop as soon as I open it, but actually not. The cable management is not too bad at all. And if we take a look down here, we can see that we not only have an old hard drive, but we also have an old, nowadays, SSD. So we'll confirm the length of the storage as well, as long as we're here. So this is just 1, 2, and that's it. Yes. Now this module is also sold by Cooler Master themselves, so in case we cannot fix it, we can always just buy a new one instead of throwing away the whole case. So inside the USBs is where the issue actually happens. Now it is oxidized, but I don't know if it's actually broken, so let's get washing, I guess. Now I know you've missed this as much as me, so okay, so while the front panel dries up, it is finally time to dismount all these fans and get cable managing. So we just get them all out, turn them around, and I think I found which fan to put on the back. It is a Mars gaming fan. It's really just aesthetically there. And then we will put all three fans on the front, but we will actually see if that's the way we want to go or if we want to put just two. I think probably two are going to be fine, but we will see as we go. So let's get started. Okay, so we are now flipping the fans to cable manage them better and obviously to have them as outtakes since the cooler is mounted on the top. Okay, so we can now finally just slap the radiator on the top. So we are just routing the cables. Terabytes, and then this half a terabyte Samsung drive. Okay, so to put the last fan in, I had to basically light up the scene with my screwdriver and then put some pliers in there to manually wrench the last screw. Because how else are you supposed to get there? I mean, tell me. If any of you know, legit tell me, I'm curious. Okay, so it's already looking much better, little spoiler of how it came. Now what we've done in the end is put in all three fans on the front, and to do that we put this Mars gaming fan on the back, which I think looks really nice, especially because it's matched pretty well with the actual GPU stand. And overall it looks nice, even though we can't sync it yet because we are missing the front panel completely. As you can see, it's here now. I have tried to fix it and it's currently drying up, and we will try to fix it. I think maybe we can save one of the two USB 3.0 ports, but saving both seems pretty unlikely because one basically has a little micro pin that's bent and it actually snapped off while trying to fix it, because the guy actually went in there to try and fix them, and Of course, it's not easy, and so he did worse, but it happens. But hey, we can buy the module itself, worst case scenario, and get it fixed. Now, we also have a bit of cleaning to do, okay? But we plugged everything in, we did all the cable management regarding the fan, we added the NVMe, and basically we will be running a 0.5 terabyte NVMe, the Samsung 970 EVO Plus you've seen. We had to find a little standoff because it was missing, and also a little screw. Then we kept the 500 gigabyte Samsung SSD that came with it, and the 2 terabyte drive that actually came with the PC, making for a total of 1 terabyte in SSDs and 2 terabyte in hard disks. So I think for the price point, which I'm gonna target to sell at, it should be okay. With a total of 3 terabyte, is nothing to look bad at. So I'm pretty happy about it. Again, we flipped all the fans. Now we currently have an install of Windows there, but that's yet to be reinstalled. So I say we take a couple of days to let this thing dry up. We try to fix that, come back without that one look, clean it up a bit better, and then install proper Windows, and then start benchmarking once we have the front panel fixed. See you soon. Okay, so a little update. If I put it here, I fixed it and it works. However, if I put it here, no chance, and it just doesn't work. But that's because one of the pins actually broke in this one. You probably cannot see it. So now I will try to replace that little thing right there with another USB 3.0 if I manage to find one for sale. And if I don't, I will think about it, maybe just disconnect this one and we will see. But yes. Alright, you guys, so here we are with the PC finished, and yes, we might have changed setup a little bit. We got this very good desk from Mars Gaming, thank you by the way, and we have added a bit of LEDs all around the studio, but that will be for another video. But focusing on the PC again, this thing came out great, better than I expected actually, and we managed to fix both USB by simply, well, messing around with them, going in with some pliers, getting rid of all the oxidation, and then basically straighten them out as much as I could. I did quite a bit of that off camera, where with some very little, very small pliers that they give you for those kits to fix your iPhone, I just went and like pulled the copper wire in order to make the USB make contact. And now all the front USBs are fixed, the PC is cleaned up. But actually, while we were testing it, a little last issue came up, and it was that it was slightly overheating. It was going to 90 degrees directly, so we had to replace the roller paste. We used some Quality Silence paste in this case, and we took off the previous Corsair stock paste, and we actually spent a bit of time going in, downloading the IQ software from Corsair, and actually dialing in all the settings to make everything work properly. It was a bit troublesome, a bit long, but with that we managed to drop the temperature, and then of course we ran all our system undervolted, so we undervolted it on top of that, and with the undervolt as well we were keeping the temperature at 85 degrees. We have a tutorial on this PC, by the way, on how to undervolt the Ryzen 7 5800X3D. Speaking of which, it's the first X3D CPU I get on the channel, and it's just great. It's exactly how I imagined it. It can handle 4400 MHz RAM, as you can see by the CPU Z-score, just at full XMP speed with no issue whatsoever, without adjusting voltages and stuff. Just enable the XMP, and in games it runs cool and quiet. We tested Apex Legends, and with the RTX 3090 at 1080p, 300 Hz, maxed out, locked in. This thing is made for competitive gaming. This Ryzen 7 is a beast. Then of course we tested Warzone, again Warzone, 1080p, 240 Hz, no issues whatsoever. We ran a Firestrike test, we were close to 40k in graphics. Extremely impressive performance, even in synthetic, to be fair, because again, this is just an 8-core 16-threaded CPU. It just has a stack of ThreadEV cache stacked on top of it, which is what makes the CPU so unique and perform actually better, at least in my testing, in most games on average, than an i9 11900K, and in some games it even beats the 12900K, which is extremely impressive, to be fair. And what's really impressive is that during all of that, the GPU just stays at a maximum of 70 degrees under full load, and this thing has 24GB of GDDR6X VRAM. So it's really impressive for this gigabyte card to be able to keep all of that under control while being pretty quiet. The system is very quiet overall, so I'm happy about that one too. So with that, We did go ahead and add a bit of storage again, so the whole price for the build went up slightly. I think we paid around 1,050 euros for the whole thing, but it's still like ridiculously cheap. Like I've never gotten this kind of performance. It just goes to show how much the market has dropped. Maybe it's due to the economy a bit, but now during the summer, where less people want PCs, it's the best time ever to buy a PC. So if you want to build one, build it now. If you want to flip PCs, buy them now, maybe flip them in September probably. Now it's not really, you can get good deals, but you sell them slowly, at least slower I think. But yeah, do let me know guys, do you like this one? And would you have done anything different with the components? Maybe tune them a bit different, do something different with the overclock? Do let me know, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye!